Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we are talking 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After Season 9 Episode 9. Shaken but Not Stirred, I think that's the name of the episode. So we're just going to get on into it. This is the first episode of the season. Well, not at the season, but it's the first episode in a while where we actually saw all the couples in this episode. I mean, we didn't see Gino, but we saw Jasmine and Matt and everything, and we saw all the other couples. So I'm going to skim through Darcy and Georgie. They had a nice little intimate moment. Georgie opened up more about his concerns with Darcy. He's just afraid to open up because, Darcy doesn't like to listen. She really don't. She just doesn't like to listen. And she thinks she knows everything. And, she doesn't want her husband to be a mystery, which I understand that. But she's driving him away with just the way that she acts. And, I realized something, watching, ever since we met Darcy way back in 2017 when she was with Jesse and then with Tom and stuff, it's that, the other 90 Dayers love Darcy and Stacy. So every tell-all that they're on and stuff, whenever we get to tell us off, nobody ever calls them out for anything. They always come to their rescue on things, which is okay. This is cool. They're, overall, they're nice people. Like, I don't want to, they act weird, but, at the end of the day, they are nice people. And I know I'm hard on Darcy and Stacy a lot, especially Darcy with all these plastic surgeries and the way she acts. But, realistically, they are nice people. And they, Darcy has some toxic relationships, but relationship-wise, they get called out a lot on social media, obviously, but nobody calls them out in person. So I think somebody needs to actually call Darcy out the way she acts whenever we get to the tell-all, because it's just really embarrassing. She really embarrasses herself the way she acts. But anyway, so they had a moment, then they went out to hang out with the dad, and they just went to this like farm type area place, talked about their, bowel movements and stuff, kind of disgusting, but really that was it. That was it from Darcy and Georgie, and that's all I'm going to say about it. So that was the next couple I want to talk is Jasmine and Matt. So Matt decides to take Jasmine on a little getaway in Michigan. They go on this little carriage ride and everything. Matt really has feelings for Jasmine, and this is low key. He's low key trying to really get her to fall in love and everything, which is, at this point, Jasmine has been acting differently around Matt, obviously, and everything. And, Gino acts different around these other people and stuff. It's just really clear that Gino and Jasmine are just not meant for each other. Because I think now, low-key, say what we want about Jasmine, but she seems happier with Matt in real time. Gino, before he messed it up with Natalie, was really happy with Natalie before he screwed it up and stuff. They don't need to be together, clearly. So, Jasmine told Matt, I do have a nice little bond with you, and it's nice being with somebody that we're not fighting or anything. I like the fact that Matt calls her mama. Well, at this point, little do they know that's going to be a real thing. But, so, they had a romantic getaway and everything, and it was cool. It was cool. There's not much to really add on to about it. It's just Matt's way of trying to get into Jasmine's heart and everything. So at this point, I can't blame him, because there's no sense of saving this marriage between Gina and Jasmine. So yeah. So speaking of getaways, let's talk Kara and Guillermo. Kara and Guillermo, they surprised me in this episode. Kara had just got back from her trip to Mom, Italy, doing her little studio album, whatever she was doing. she said while she was in Italy, her and Guillermo did not talk other than just to say hi to them, just for the baby and stuff. But she's back in America. Guillermo planned a trip to get a romantic getaway so they can, hopefully rekindle their relationship. He picks Kara up at the house, helps her with her bags and everything. She's all smiling, he's smiling and everything. Um, they're in the car, and Guillermo asks Kara, like, "Do you miss me?" And she starts crying. I'm like, oh boy, how come every time he gets to that point, she starts crying? She's like, I don't know how to answer that. Okay. Um, so they get to, they have like they get to this place, this little cafe, and they have like a little lunch, and Kara makes some inappropriate, starts flirting with her husband. She's like, it's nice to flirt because without any guilt, because this is my husband and everything. She made like an inappropriate joke and stuff, and didn't feel guilty about it one bit because she can. But it just, it felt, their little date there just felt really, they felt, it didn't, it felt kind of forced, because the last few weeks they just been at each other's throats and avoiding each other, and now all of a sudden they're they're being like really flirtatious with each other, and giving us like hope that they can possibly work on their marriage and stuff and everything and stuff. So they go back to this like room that they rented, this like house, mansion, whatever, for this getaway and stuff. Um, had glasses of champagne or whatever, and we left with them about to take a bath with each other. And Kara said, I never seen this side of Guillermo. I like it and everything. And it was beautiful to watch, but like I said, it felt really forced. I don't know if that was all possibly produced, because how do you go from really at each other's throat, them not speaking while she was overseas, and then come home and then come back to this? Now I do know, judging by the previews of next week, that they're gonna go back to the serious conversation. She's not going to question Guillermo if he's cheating next week, because Kara said in this episode she wants to try to get his mind out that he thinks that she's cheating and stuff, and now she's going to turn it around on him. I pray to God that he's not cheating. I hope he's not cheating or has cheated like in a relationship. But, it was a nice change of pace with Kara and Guillermo. I thought this was a really nice thing that Guillermo did. I'm glad that Kara actually agreed to it without like being weird and extra and stuff and everything. And it was a nice change of pace. But I do know, like I said, next week it's gonna go back to the way it was. so yeah, that was Kara and Guillermo. Next couple I want to talk is Tiger Lily and Adnan. So Tiger Lily and Adnan had the baby. They had baby Zayn. For the first time, I was actually proud of Adnan. For the first time, I mean, you're not going to hear me say this much. I still don't trust the dude. But after he had the baby, he was like, all my problems, I forget about all my problems, even with Tiger Lily and everything. Like, I just love my baby and everything. Tiger Lily said the C-section went well and everything. Baby had like a lot of hair and stuff and everything. And in real time now, the baby's actually 1. So this was filmed a year ago. The baby just had his first birthday. So, man, these timelines are terrible. But yeah, Adnan was really happy. Really happy. He prayed like like a little Muslim prayer for the baby and stuff, and Muslim and stuff and everything. Tiger Lily said that she loves the fact that he's devoted to his culture and religion. That doesn't change that what she wants to do, but she enjoyed Adnan actually acting like a normal human being and stuff and everything. He acted really in love. He loved his baby, and she says that he's a good father and everything. I can believe that. I'll believe that. I still don't trust the dude. I really do not trust the dude, but I will admit This is the first time I will have to say good job, Adnan. Probably going to be the only time I say that, but this is the first time I'm saying good job, Adnan. So, yeah, that was a beautiful moment. Congratulations, Tiger Lily and Adnan, for that. Because despite how I feel about Adnan, I always pray for the babies. Hope the babies and the kids are doing well and everything. They're safe and taken care of. They're fed, they're clothed, they're in good schools, all that good stuff. So good job with that. Now speaking of babies, we have some news with Brandon and Julia. So Brandon and Julia, throughout the beginning of the season, Julia went to a fraternity clinic and she has like pulps inside her, because she was so worried that she couldn't conceive a baby and stuff and everything on things that she was told. Now we all know what happened last week, which really pissed me off when they got back from from picking up Julia's parents. Brandon's parents showed up at the house and just ruined everything, and Brandon left, and Julia was mad. This episode, we seen Julia making scrambled eggs and bacon for her parents. Brandon comes home. They have a conversation. They said, like, Brandon, like, for real, like, come on, basically, come on now, and everything. He's like, well, Julia, you need to relax more too. A lot of deflecting there, but, Julia was just not in the mood to fully argue. They had like a nice little conversation, and that was that. And then Julia and Brandon go to a fraternity clinic to get the results back from the few episodes ago when they went to go get the results. They said that things, for the most part, everything is well, and that Julia is able to conceive, but there's still some kind of like blockage in her, and they said that she might have to have a surgery to remove some of that. And Julia, when she heard that, she started freaking out because, like, she said that she's never been under anesthesia before, and that she is like worried how things would go with that. And once again, even questioned Brandon, what would you do if I didn't decide not to have kids and everything? And he's like, this is what my fear was, but don't overthink it, just think about it. And Julia said, don't put pressure on me. And he's like, I'm not going to put pressure on you. And then she just started crying because she's just going through like a lot of emotions with it, between Brandon's parents, her parents, Brandon, and all of this and stuff and everything. It's a little mind-boggling for her and everything. But in real time, Brandon and Julia this week announced that they really are pregnant finally. Congratulations, Brandon and Julia. They are finally pregnant. She's actually showing. They announced it this week on the 90 Day Fiancé social media, Instagram and Facebook page. Since it was on the actual page, that is a confirmed thing. They showed the baby bump and everything.